The night tore open with fire. Daniel Carter, a single dad and ruthless tech CEO, slammed his brakes when he saw it, an inferno in the trees. A silver sedan, crushed like paper, was burning alive on the side of the road. Smoke spiraled black into the dying sky. He jumped out, leaving his 5-year-old daughter Lily screaming in the SUV. The heat hit him like a wall. Then he froze. Through the shattered glass, a woman sat slumped against the wheel. Her wedding dress was scorched and torn, but that wasn't the horror. Chains, heavy iron chains wrapped around her chest, bolted to the steering wheel. Her wrists were bound, her face smeared with blood, and then her eyes opened, green, wide, drowning in terror. "Help me!" she gasped. "They'll come for me! Don't let them take me back!" Daniel's heart crashed in his chest. The flames crept closer to her gown. He smashed the window, tearing at the chains with his bare hands. Behind him, Lily screamed his name. Ahead of him, fire roared like a beast ready to devour. He had only seconds, and one impossible choice. The glass shattered under Daniel's fist, slicing his skin, but he didn't feel it. All he saw was the woman, chained, fading, the fire hungry for her body. "Stay with me!" he shouted, yanking at the lock. The metal seared hot. The chain wouldn't break. His lungs burned. Behind him, Lily screamed from the SUV, her tiny fists pounding the window. The flames licked the dashboard. Gasoline hissed. Time was bleeding out. Daniel ripped out his pocket knife, sawing at the restraints, sparks flying. The iron was too strong. He braced his legs, grunted, and pulled with every ounce of rage and desperation. Snap! The weld gave way. He dragged the woman out, her body limp in his arms, stumbling backward into the wet grass. And then the sedan exploded. A fireball ripped through the night, showering sparks into the sky. Daniel fell to the ground, shielding her with his own body. The shockwave slammed into him like a truck. For a moment, the world went silent. Just smoke. Just the echo of Lily screaming his name. Daniel rolled onto his back, panting. The woman pressed against him. Her lips trembled, whispering fragments. "They'll kill me. Don't let them. Chains." Then she went still, unconscious. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone must have called 911. The hospital lights were blinding. The stench of antiseptic choked the air. Daniel stood outside the ER doors, his shirt burned, his arms streaked with soot and blood. Inside, doctors worked furiously over the woman. No ID, no phone, just a ruined wedding dress and broken chains. Detective Harris, tall, square-jawed, approached. "You found her?" Daniel nodded, jaw tight. "She was chained to the wheel. Someone left her to die." "Do you know her?" "No, never seen her before in my life." The detective's eyes narrowed. "And she said, what exactly?" Daniel swallowed hard. "She said, they'll come for me. Don't let them take me back." Then she blacked out. Harris scribbled in his notebook. "Could be trafficking. Could be a forced marriage case. We've had rings operating in this state. Until she wakes up, she's a Jane Doe." Daniel exhaled sharply, rubbing his temples. The weight of it all pressed into him. The fire, the chains, the terror in her voice. He hadn't felt this powerless since the day his wife died. Hours passed. The ER overflowed with victims from a nearby crash. Nurses rushed from one bed to the next. Finally, the administrator pulled Daniel aside. "She's stable, but we don't have room for long-term observation. No family, no ID. Since you brought her in?" Daniel frowned. "Are you asking me to take her home?" The administrator hesitated. "Only short-term, until she recovers enough to tell us who she is." Through the window, Daniel saw her, pale, bruised, IVs in her arm, oxygen tube under her nose. A stranger, yet not. Something in her face stirred a responsibility deep in him, maybe even something more dangerous. He thought of Lily, of the explosion, of the words chained inside his skull. "They'll come for me." Daniel closed his eyes, exhaled, and made a choice. "I'll take her." And that was the moment the nightmare truly began. The Pacific Heights estate had never felt so heavy with silence. Daniel carried the unconscious woman, Isabella Monroe, though he didn't know her name yet, Into the guest room. The ocean thundered outside, waves crashing against the cliffs. But inside the house, there was only the sound of his daughter's breathing on the staircase. Lily, barefoot in her pajamas, clutched her stuffed bunny and stared wide-eyed at the stranger in her father's arms. "Daddy, is she a princess?" she whispered. Daniel froze. "Why do you say that?" "Because she's wearing a sparkly dress, but it's all burned, like she escaped a dragon." For the first time that night, Daniel almost smiled. Maybe she did. Lily stepped closer, her small voice trembling. "Then I'm going to call her Princess Fire, because she didn't disappear in the flames." Daniel laid Isabella gently on the bed, adjusting the blankets. Bruises painted her skin. The remnants of lace clung to her collarbone. She looked fragile, breakable, and yet, somehow, still alive. The days that followed were strange. When Isabella finally opened her eyes, morning light spilled across the room. She blinked, confused, staring at the ceiling she didn't recognize. Panic flickered in her chest. Her wrists ached. Her breath came shallow. Daniel appeared at the doorway, careful, carrying a tray with soup and tea. His eyes were tired but steady. "You're safe," he said quietly. "This is my home. You were in a car crash. I found you." She tried to speak. Her voice cracked. "Who am I?" Daniel shook his head slowly. "You haven't remembered yet. That's okay. Don't force it." Her throat tightened. She didn't know her name, didn't know where she came from. She only knew the shadows chasing her, the fire, the chains. Then Lily appeared. Skipping into the room with her bunny in hand, she gasped dramatically. "That's her! The princess I told you about!" "Lily," Daniel warned, but his daughter just grinned. "Princess Fire," Lily said proudly, standing by the bed, "because you came from the flames and didn't disappear." And for the first time, Isabella laughed. It was small, broken, but real. Life in Daniel's house became a rhythm of healing. She couldn't remember her past, but she remembered how to make tea, how to hum lullabies. She flinched at loud noises, avoided mirrors, and woke screaming from nightmares she couldn't describe. Daniel kept his distance, always near, but never hovering. He gave her space, but made sure she felt she belonged. And Lily? She had no reservations at all. The little girl pulled Isabella into her games without hesitation, painting on the patio, building forts in the living room, whispering secrets in the garden. To Lily, Isabella wasn't a stranger. She was family already. One evening, Daniel stood quietly at the door while Isabella and Lily painted stars on paper. Lily leaned close and whispered, "Don't be scared. Daddy protects us, and I'll protect you too." Isabella's chest tightened, tears threatened, but she smiled, letting Lily press a sticker star to her wrist as if it were armor. But peace never lasted long. Her first trip outside was to the grocery store. Daniel pushed the cart, Lily bounced along ahead, and Isabella clung nervously to the handle. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The crowd pressed too close. Every sound scraped at her nerves. She turned her head. Lily was gone. "Lily?" Her voice cracked. She dropped the box of cereal from her hands, heart hammering. "Lily!" Down the aisle, a man in a gray hoodie bent toward a child. Isabella snapped. Memories flooded, hands dragging her, muffled screams, locked doors. She sprinted, shoving carts aside. "Get away from her!" she screamed. The man looked up, startled. Just a store employee offering a free sample. But Isabella didn't see that. She saw monsters. Her knees gave out. She collapsed, sobbing. Lily rushed to her, hugging her fiercely. "I'm here! I'm right here!" Daniel reached them seconds later, panic in his eyes. He crouched, pulling both of them into his arms. "Shh, it's okay. She's here. We're safe." Isabella's face was streaked with tears, her hands trembling as she clutched the little girl. "I thought I lost her. I thought—" Daniel said nothing, but as he held them both, he understood. This wasn't just memory loss. This was trauma carved into her soul. That night, as rain whispered against the windows, Isabella sat alone by the glass, arms wrapped around herself. Daniel joined her, sitting in silence before speaking. Whatever you've been through, he said softly, you don't have to face the rest of it alone. Her eyes lifted to his. Fragile, grateful. Thank you for finding me. Even when I didn't know I was lost. Outside, the stars pushed through the clouds. Soft, steady, like hope. The rain hammered the glass walls of Daniel Carter's estate, a storm raging outside like an omen. Inside, Isabella Monroe stood by the window, her reflection fractured by the rivulets of water. Her hands wrapped tightly around a mug of tea, but her eyes were far away, trapped in a world she had tried to forget. Daniel approached carefully. You okay? She didn't turn. The rain, it reminds me of something. A place. A house. Her voice cracked. Big. Guards everywhere. A locked room. I remember screaming. No one came. Daniel froze. His heartbeat thudded in his ears. Her hand shook against the mug. Until one day, someone new arrived. He said his name was Victor Kane. He wore a suit, spoke gently, told me I was special, that I'd make the perfect bride. The name sliced through Daniel like a blade. He had heard it before, from whispers, from rumors of a trafficking ring too powerful to touch. They dressed me, Isabella whispered. That wedding gown, it wasn't mine. They said it would be my last gift before I became someone's property. I didn't know who. I just knew I had to run. Her voice broke. My name, it's Isabella. Isabella Monroe. Daniel placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Thank you for telling me. But before he could say more, the house shuddered with a sudden alarm. The security system flashed red. Motion sensor triggered. Backyard. Daniel's instincts roared alive. He grabbed the handgun from the lockbox. Storming into the rain, the storm drenched him instantly. He scanned the garden, and then he saw it. A shadow. Tall, broad, hooded. Standing at the edge of the hedges, watching the house. Hey! Daniel shouted. The figure's head snapped up. For a heartbeat. Their eyes locked. Cold. Merciless. Then the man bolted, sprinting into the darkness. Daniel gave chase, mud splashing under his feet, branches clawing at his jacket. The figure vanished into the woods, swallowed by night. Daniel returned, soaked and furious. In the foyer, Isabella stood barefoot, clutching Lily in her arms. Her eyes widened. What happened? Someone was outside, watching, Daniel said through clenched teeth. Isabella's arms tightened around Lily. Her face went pale. They found me! Daniel stepped closer, dripping rain onto the hardwood. His voice was low, unshakable. No, they don't get to take you again. Not this time. But the break-in changed everything. Every night after, Daniel double-checked the locks. He slept with the handgun by his side. The estate became a fortress, but peace was gone. For Isabella, something shifted. Fear hardened into clarity. Memory bled back, sharper each day. One morning, while Lily colored at the kitchen table, Isabella stared into her coffee. Her voice was flat, steady. I remember everything. Daniel set his cup down slowly. Tell me, her eyes filled with shadows. I was working 2 jobs in Romania, barely surviving. Then I saw an ad online, a nanny position in Switzerland. Good pay, visa, housing. I thought it was my way out. Daniel's chest tightened. They flew me to Belgium first. Said it was just paperwork, but the house wasn't a hotel. It was a compound. No windows. No phones. Doors locked from the outside. Her hands trembled. They took my passport, trained us like cattle. How to walk, how to smile, how to obey. Then they auctioned us to rich men across Europe. Her breath shook. I was purchased by Charles Whitmore, a baron, sadistic. He wanted obedience, nothing else. But Victor Kane, he ran it all. He was the one who sold me. Told me I should be grateful Whitmore would keep me alive longer than most. Daniel's jaw clenched so hard it hurt. I stabbed Whitmore with a broken glass when he tried to. Her voice cracked. I ran. Somehow, I made it to the U.S. But someone followed me. They chained me in that car. They wanted to burn me alive. Silence fell heavy. Rain pattered against the windows like tears. Daniel leaned forward. You should be in a safe house. Under protection. This is too big. Too dangerous. Isabella shook her head. I can't leave. Not yet. You and Lily, you've given me more than I thought I could ever have again, but I can't live free while dozens of girls are still trapped. I remember names, places. If I testify, we can bring it down. All of it. Daniel stared at her, torn between fear and respect. Then he nodded. Then we do it together. But no more surprises. Outside, thunder rolled over the ocean, as if the storm itself knew war was coming. The morning sun was deceptively gentle, washing the streets in gold as Daniel Carter drove his black SUV toward Lily's ballet class. For a moment, it felt almost normal. Lily sang in the back seat, clutching her stuffed bunny, her voice sweet and off-key. Isabella Munro sat in the passenger seat, her hands fidgeting in her lap, eyes darting to every car they passed. She was learning to breathe again, learning to live again. And then the world shattered. A black van came out of nowhere, slamming into the side of Daniel's SUV with bone-crushing force. Metal screamed, glass exploded. The vehicle spun off the road, crashing into a ditch. Daniel's head whipped against the steering wheel. His ears rang. Warm blood trickled down his temple. He fought for breath, vision swimming. "Daddy!" Lily screamed. Isabella's body slammed against the door, pain shooting through her ribs. Dazed, she turned, reaching for Lily, just as the SUV doors wrenched open. Two masked men, black clothes, guns in hand. One of them shoved his weapon into Daniel's side. Out! Daniel tried to lunge, but the butt of the gun smashed into his ribs. White-hot pain stole his air. He collapsed sideways, gasping. "Take the girl!" the other shouted. "No!" Isabella roared. She flung herself into the back seat, wrapping her arms around Lily. The little girl's scream split the air. The first man reached in, yanking. Isabella fought like a wild animal, nails clawing, teeth snapping. She shoved Lily toward the opposite door. "Run, baby! Run to the trees!" Lily stumbled out, tears streaming, sprinting barefoot toward the forest. The second masked man gave chase, but Isabella launched herself after him. Rage burned through fear. She tackled him into the grass, ripping at his mask, slamming her elbow into his face until blood gushed and he fell limp. Behind her, tires screeched. Daniel, clutching his ribs, had dragged himself into the driver's seat. With a guttural cry, he slammed the SUV forward, scattering the first attacker. Isabella clutched Lily to her chest, shaking, both of them sobbing. Daniel pulled the SUV into the ditch, blood on his shirt, breath ragged, eyes blazing. They had barely survived. Back at the estate, the house felt smaller, darker. Daniel bolted every door, every window. He moved like a man possessed, checking locks, arming alarms, keeping the handgun within reach. Isabella cleaned his wound with trembling hands. She pressed gauze against his ribs, her tears silent, her jaw tight. "I can't keep running," she whispered. Daniel looked at her, pain etched across his face. "Then we end it." Her eyes met his, filled with fire. "I'm going to face him, Victor Kane. I'm going to stop him. No more hiding, no more waiting." Daniel cupped her cheek with a bloodied hand. "Then we do it together. But you will not do this alone." She gripped his hand, fiercely, desperately. "If I fail, promise me you'll protect Lily." His grip tightened. "You're not going to fail." And in that silence, their hearts beat the same rhythm. Rage, love, defiance. Outside, the storm clouds gathered again, and somewhere in the shadows, Victor Kane's men were already planning their next move. The air inside Daniel Carter's study was thick with tension. Files, photographs, and FBI dossiers were spread across his desk like pieces of a nightmare puzzle. Rain streaked the tall windows, and thunder rolled over the ocean. At the center of it all sat Isabella Munro, her face pale but eyes blazing with resolve. "They'll never stop hunting me," she said. "Not until I stop them first." Daniel clenched his jaw. "You're not doing this alone." She looked at him, steady, unflinching. I have to be the bait. I'm the only thing Victor Kane wants badly enough to draw him out. The words fell like gunfire. Agent Collins, the FBI coordinator, leaned forward. If you're serious, we can set up an undercover operation. Wire you. Embed a transmitter in your clothing. But you have to understand, this is lethal territory. Kane doesn't hesitate. He kills. I know, Isabella whispered. Her fingers brushed the scar on her wrist where the chains had cut deep. I've already lived through hell. I won't let another girl go through what I did. Daniel slammed his fist against the desk. No, there has to be another way. Isabella turned to him, voice shaking but fierce. Daniel, I can't keep running. Not after what they tried to do to Lily. I won't let this nightmare touch her again. If I can end this, I have to try. For a long moment, Daniel's shoulders trembled with rage and fear. Then he exhaled, defeated but determined. Then I'll be right there, every second. You won't go in alone. The plan formed quickly. Isabella would return to the predator's den, Kane's sprawling estate hidden in the hills outside Monterey. To the outside world, it looked like luxury. But behind those walls, dozens of young women were imprisoned. She would wear the dress again, the cursed white gown Victor had once forced on her. But this time, it was different. Beneath the lace, sewn discreetly into the lining, would be a wire and a tiny transmitter. Every word, every sound, would feed directly to the FBI strike team positioned outside. Daniel, dressed in tactical black, would move with the agents. He refused to be sidelined. You'll have eyes on her the whole time, Collins assured. But when the signal drops, we go in hard. Daniel nodded grimly. His eyes found Isabella's. When this ends, you walk out, alive. I won't accept anything else. Her lips trembled, but she nodded. Alive. Together. The night of the mission, the air was electric with danger. Black SUVs crept along back roads, headlights off. Agents in body armor checked their rifles, their faces carved from steel. Rain had given way to a chilling fog that clung to the trees. Inside one of the vehicles, Isabella sat still, her wedding gown flowing like a ghost. Daniel sat opposite her, watching every breath, memorizing her face as if afraid it might vanish. Why does it have to be you? He muttered. Because I'm the only one he won't suspect, she replied. And because I choose this. Not chains, not fear. Choice. Daniel's hand slid into hers. His grip was firm, unyielding. Then I choose you, every time. For the first time that night, Isabella smiled, not with joy but with courage. The convoy halted a mile from the estate. Beyond the trees, Kane's mansion glowed like a beacon, grand chandeliers glittering through tall windows, guards patrolling with rifles slung across their shoulders. To an outsider, it was wealth. To Isabella, it was hell dressed in gold. Collins gave the final orders. Isabella goes in first. Wait for the phrase, then test me. That's her signal. When you hear it, we strike. Daniel's chest tightened. Then test me. 2 words that could mean everything. Isabella stepped out into the fog, the gown trailing behind her. Each step toward the mansion was heavy, like walking back into the fire. But her spine was straight. Her eyes were steel. She was no longer the chained bride. She was the bait. The warrior, the survivor. At the great oak doors, they opened before she could knock. And there he was, Victor Kane, immaculate suit, cold smile, eyes sharp with hunger and cruelty. Well, well, he purred. The runaway bride returns. Isabella's pulse thundered in her ears, but her voice was calm. I had to think. I understand now. I know what I am. I'm ready. Kane studied her, searching for weakness. Trust is not so easily won, Isabella. She lifted her chin. Then test me. Outside, hidden in the darkness, Daniel and the FBI agents locked eyes. It was time. The chandeliers inside Victor Kane's mansion glittered like frozen lightning, casting cruel reflections across marble floors. Isabella Munro stood in the grand hall, her white gown flowing like a ghost, but beneath the lace, her heart thundered. Kane circled her slowly, a predator savoring his prey. You disappeared. Do you know how much that cost me? His voice was velvet over steel. Isabella steadied her breath. I had to think, but I understand now. I know what I am. I'm ready to belong. His lips curved into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Words are cheap. Trust demands sacrifice. Her chin lifted. Then test me. The signal. Outside. Hidden in the fog and trees. Daniel Carter's earpiece crackled. FBI agent Collins raised a fist. The strike team surged forward like shadows, rifles primed, boots silent against wet earth. Go! The gates exploded open. Silencers hissed. Guards dropped before they could sound alarms. Black-clad agents swarmed the grounds, breaching doors and windows. Inside, chaos erupted. Isabella felt the tremor in the walls before she heard it. The heavy thud of boots. The muffled gunfire. Kane's eyes narrowed. What have you done? Before she could answer, she ripped a fire extinguisher from the wall and smashed it into the nearest lock. The barred door flew open. Inside, two young women stared at her with hollow eyes. Go! Isabella cried. You're free! Run! Confusion, then hope sparked. They bolted. Isabella spun, racing down the corridor, unlocking another door, then another. Screams, gunshots. The mansion was breaking open. Daniel stormed through the marble hallway, ducking behind pillars as bullets shattered vases and splintered wood. He fired back, precise, ruthless. An attacker lunged with a knife. Daniel slammed him against the wall, disarmed him, and cut through the bindings of three terrified girls chained in the cellar. Follow the lights outside, he urged. Go now! The girls stumbled free, tears streaming, upstairs. Isabella ran breathless, gowns snagging on corners, freeing more captives as alarms blared. The girls clutched her hands, too stunned to believe rescue was real. Then Kane appeared at the end of the corridor. His smile was gone, replaced with venom. You think you can defy me? You are nothing but property. He grabbed her wrist, yanking hard. Pain seared up her arm, but Isabella twisted, rage burning through fear. She drove her fist into his jaw. He staggered, stunned. That's for every girl you chained? She spat. His fury snapped. From his jacket, a pistol gleamed. He raised it, aimed at her chest. Her breath caught. Daniel turned the corner just in time. Daniel dove to protect Isabella from gunfire, taking a bullet. As she cradled him, love and hope fueled her promise to stay. The sterile hum of machines filled the hospital room. Daniel Carter lay pale against the pillows, his side bandaged, monitors beeping steadily. For days, Isabella Monroe had barely left his side, her fingers laced with his, whispering prayers into the quiet. When his eyes finally fluttered open, she gasped, tears spilling. You came back to me, she whispered. His lips curved weakly. Told you, I'm hard to kill. She laughed through sobs, pressing her forehead to his. I thought I lost you. Daniel squeezed her hand. You'll never lose me. Then Isabella pulled something from her pocket, a small paper ring, folded clumsily from the hospital meal menu. Her hands trembled as she slid it onto his finger. No diamonds, no gold, just us, she said softly. Daniel Carter, will you marry me? His breath caught, then he smiled, the kind that reached his eyes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. From the doorway, Lily clapped her hands, beaming. Mommy said yes! The room filled with laughter, tears, and the sound of new beginnings. For the first time, the chains were gone, not just from Isabella's body, but from both their hearts. The ocean glowed beneath the setting sun, waves kissing the sand like blessings. Daniel stood in a sharp black suit, Isabella radiant in a flowing white gown, Lily, barefoot and laughing, scattered petals before them. When the vows were spoken, Lily tugged Isabella's hand and whispered, Mommy. Isabella's eyes filled with tears, her smile trembling. Together, the three of them released lanterns into the twilight sky. Golden lights rose, carrying their scars, their pain, their past. What remained was love, unbroken, unchained, eternal.